John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer, enjoying my time in Atlanta traffic, which means I'm not moving very fast. So today we're going to talk about, in the industry term, it's kind of a dirty word in the credit industry, re-aging. What is re-aging? What does it mean? Who can re-age? What is the downside to re-aging? How can you deal with re-aging? Everything there is to know about re-aging. So re-aging is a term that has a very specific definition in credit reporting, although some pretend experts like to try to apply the term across multiple scenarios where it is not applicable. Re-aging is a process whereby normally a debt collector, but certainly it can be someone other than a debt collector, normally a debt collector will change the date of the first delinquency of the original debt that led to the collection to be more recent. And by doing so, they make the debt look more recent, and therefore it can have more of a negative impact to a credit score, and maybe more importantly, it will remain on a credit report longer than is allowed by law. Collections are only allowed to remain on a credit report for no longer than 7 years from the date of the first delinquency of the original debt, not the date that the collection was assigned. That can happen months or even years after the debt went into default. So no, it's not 7 years from when the collection was assigned. It's 7 years from the date that the original debt started going delinquent. And that's it. That is the one and only definition of re-aging. There is no other definition. It doesn't apply to anything else. It doesn't apply to any other dates associated with a collection or any other accounts. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. I get it. I'm just some face on YouTube that I'm asking you to believe what I'm saying. The Federal Trade Commission has the same definition. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has the same definition. All three of the credit reporting agencies have the same definition. The National Consumer Law Center has the same definition, and Consumer Union has the same definition. Every single one of those organizations, except for the credit bureaus, would never be confused with being an industry-leaning organization. They're all there to protect consumers. So we all have the same definition of re-aging. So it's not like I'm just creating something from scratch. But again, these pretend credit experts love to, throw around terms and use them inappropriately. Is re-aging common? I gotta tell you, it is not. Because it is only that specific changing of that date of first delinquency on a collection, that's really, really uncommon. Does it happen? Of course it probably happens. There are tens of millions of collections on consumers' credit reports. Can the date of one of them accidentally be changed or be changed nefariously? Of course it can. Is it some wide-ranging systemic problem that is polluting credit reporting? Not even remotely close. And anyone who would try to have you believe that is simply not being honest with you. In fact, in my almost 31 years in the credit industry, I think I've seen re-aging, like valid, authentic re-aging, a handful of times. So it's certainly not some sort of systemic problem or systemic issue. And when it does happen, it's usually either a legitimate bona fide mistake, or there are some scenarios where a debt collector can be playing dirty, and if they get caught, boy, that's not good for them. So how do you know if your account has been re-aged? Ooh, that's a good one. Remember, collections are only allowed to remain on credit reports for 7 years from the date of the first delinquency with the original creditor, not from the date that your collection was assigned. So you will know, or at least you should know, when it was that your account with the original creditor started going delinquent. Because in most scenarios, you have, for medical anyways, you have a service date. If it's an apartment, you know when your payment was due. If it's some other debt, like a credit card, you know what the due date was. So it shouldn't be a secret as to when the account started going delinquent originally with the original creditor that led to the default. That's the definition of this date of first delinquency in credit reporting nomenclature. So it's actually probably pretty easy for you, the consumer, to figure that out. So all you have to do is look at your credit reports and see what the date of first delinquency is, or if it doesn't have that date. Some of them don't have that date, but they'll have information, this account is scheduled to be removed on this date. And then you just subtract 7 years from that, and all right, so the date of the first delinquency is being reported as whatever, as act. You should be able to know pretty easily the date of first delinquency is on a collection. And if it appears that it's going to remain for many years after it actually first went delinquent with the original creditor, you may have a problem. If it looks like it's going to be deleted around or at the 7-year mark or even earlier than the 7-year mark, then you know that the date of first delinquency probably is being reported accurately or may even being reported in your favor, which is also uncommon, but certainly it can happen. Can you challenge the date of the first delinquency? Of course you can. You can absolutely dispute the date of the first delinquency, and the credit reporting agencies and the furnishing party obviously have to perform an investigation and make sure they get it right. So there you have it, everything there is to know about the date of first delinquency, re-aging, or the DOFD. If you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section below. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.